Welcome back everyone to GOATcast Sports. The NBA is almost a quarter of a way through and has produced some highs and lows so far in the early games of this regular season. With December 15th rapidly approaching, many of the newly contracted players will be eligible for trades after this. With some teams flourishing and some floundering, trades could legitimately make or break a few squads, and for some players and teams, it might be that time to find a different home. So today, I will look at 4 players that I think should hit the trade market sooner than later in this 2023-2024 season. But before I do that, please like and subscribe to the channel. The road to 1,000 subs is getting closer and closer and can't do it without you guys. Also, if you enjoy podcasts, who doesn't, check myself and Big Nige out on my other channel for all things NBA and basketball. Link will be in the description. Now let's look at our 4 nominees for a trade. Bones Hyland. There have been many casualties from the James Harden trade, but this one is inexcusable. After starting the season as a solid rotation player for the solid Clippers, Bones basically went from the penthouse to the outhouse once Harden arrived. Having added double-digit scoring in the early season, he saw his minutes go from contributor to non-existent. While I always give Ty Lue his props, this to me is a huge error in coaching and team management. Even if he's not the most productive player, you still have a chance to develop a young talent that was actually thriving in your system when allowed to play. Even though he's slightly undersized at 6'2" and 169 pounds, he's still a young up-and-coming player that can produce in spot minutes. Also, if the Clippers feel that he is not what they are looking for in a point guard, why not audition him to other teams that might be in the market for a young player such as him? Having him at least show what he can do in doses can entice a team to dump a few second round or even late first round picks in a trade, and I'm sure Bones is not happy sitting on the sidelines and cheering for a team that has looked terrible since Harden arrived. In the last 3 games, Hyland has played a whopping 5 minutes out of the 3. While I wouldn't advise him to throw a tantrum like Philly Harden did, he has to let them know he is disgruntled and ready to take his talents elsewhere if they will accommodate. Malcolm Brogdon. This isn't because Brogdon is doing anything wrong or playing bad. He's actually been a bright spot for the rebuilding Portland Trail Blazers, averaging 18.2 points and 6.4 assists. It's still surprising that the Blazers kept him after he was traded from the Boston Celtics in the Drew Holiday swap, as he is the type of player that fringe playoff teams would love to trade assets for, and while his contract is a little bit hefty at $22.5 million on the books for this season and the 2025 one, teams that desperately need a solid guard that can integrate into their starting lineup or be a key 6-man would absolutely be wise to take a look at him. At 30 years old, he's probably the player he's going to be, which is very solid, so it wouldn't be a real gamble for a team to give something away for him. I think for a rebuilding Blazers, they can get some picks and maybe even young players in exchange for Brogdon and get the rebuild in motion quicker. While it may not happen in the upcoming weeks, I'd expect to see Brogdon being shopped around before the trade deadline hits on February 8th. Mikal Bridges. Once again, like Brogdon, Bridges isn't doing anything wrong at all. In fact, with Cam Thomas on the mend, he's leading the Nets in scoring and steals with 22.8 and 1.1 respectively. Much like Brogdon and the Blazers, the Nets are in a pseudo rebuild it seems after the failed Kevin Durant-Kyrie Irving experiment. With a bunch of mid-level talent that can win some games, but do not have enough to contend at all in the stacked East, it'll be wise for Brooklyn to load up on assets and expiring contracts. Brooklyn just doesn't seem like a destination the cream of the crop is rushing to land at, especially after 2 failed star-riddled teams fizzled out with barely a conference final run. Bridges could be a piece that can bring back something of value, as he's a lot like Brogdon in that he can likely fit well with almost any system since he's mostly known as a defender but can also light it up if necessary. Especially teams on borrowed time when it comes to winning a championship, adding a great 3-and-D guy is always a good look, so I'd expect Bridges to get some looks before the trade deadline by some of the heavy hitters. Finally, Anthony Davis. Yes, I know the Laker Nation will come out with pitchforks, but hear me out. AD is great. AD will no doubt go down as a Hall of Famer in the NBA. AD is gifted. The problem is I don't think AD knows this. He's a champion now and is on a team with one of the greatest players of all time and just seems to be too inconsistent for what the Lakers need from him. He'll go beast mode in one game, only to put up Brian Scalabrine numbers the next. To me, he suffers the same issues as Kawhi Leonard. Extremely talented when healthy, but therein lies the problem. Staying healthy is a job within itself, and when less than 100%, he doesn't always give you the numbers you need. A guy that should have easily slid into the Batman role with an aging star like LeBron remains Robin to his Batman. He did sign an extension, so any team looking for his services would be on the books for 3 years and $186 million. He's definitely worth it when he's on, but when he's not, that number looks overpriced. The thing about the Lakers is that their window is extremely small, with LeBron probably 1 foot out the door at age 38 and soon to be 39. If the plan is to build around AD, then I feel as though they have failed, because the team feels more adapted to LeBron's game rather than Davis's. The plan should be to future-proof this team since their star player doesn't have much longer and the Laker name needs to live on beyond LeBron James. The best way to do that may be to depart ways with Davis and get back as much in trade assets and expiring contracts as possible to load up for some fresh young talent of the future. Could the Lakers entice Anthony Edwards maybe? If Zion stays healthy, could he be a target? And what about Victor Wembanyama, since Lakers like to bring in transcendent centers under their banner? Anthony Davis is only 30 years old, but he seems to be an old 30, which means his decline is probably nearing sooner than later. He's currently averaging 22.9 points and 12.5 rebounds. Solid work, but with LeBron in year 21 and about to turn 39, Davis needs to ramp it up a little more for LA, but does he have it? I don't know, but I think the Lakers organization should definitely field some calls and inquiries before February 8th. Even if it sounds crazy right now, the right move in hindsight could be the difference between LeBron staying at 4 rings or getting to that elusive 5th. So those are 4 names that could probably use a trade so far this year. I'm sure there's many I missed, but we only have so much time. Let me know in the comment section if you agree or if there's any other players that you think should be on the trade block once the floodgates open. Also, if you want to ascend to GOAT status like number 23, please like and subscribe to the channel and help us reach 1,000 subs. Thank you guys, and be back soon.